What is going on, everybody? Back today to talk about, well, as you can tell by the title, we're going to be talking about something. It's Warhammer 40,000, Warhammer 40K related, but it's, some people would say it's damn near heretical, some heresy, and that is, of course, pre-assembled, pre-painted miniatures. And should Games Workshop mass produce them and mass sell them at retail? Well, the answer is yes. The answer is an easy yes, and anyone who thinks the answer is no, you're just wrong. And throughout the entirety of this video, I'm going to just destroy all the counter arguments people can make as to why it should not be done. And I'm going to also give my thoughts on why I think it can be done, because I know that's another counter argument. Like, it just can't be done. It can't be done. We're going to see. So, it's a good idea and it should be done. It is doable. Here's why I think it's doable. I think the technology these days is there. I just don't think Games Workshop at this point has been willing to make the investment, because we know that they have all of the manufacturing equipment and machinery and everything they need, everything necessary to produce models for the game, for the tabletop game. The model on the sprues, not assembled like in this photo. This is actually a photo of the very first Warhammer 40,000 model I ever assembled and painted. And it was, I've done two now at this point. Not bragging, 100% not bragging. At no point in this video am I bragging about my modeling hobby skills, my painting skills, none of it. This is the first one I did. I've done two now. And in the process of doing both of those, I'm really questioning whether or not this is something I want to get into. And unfortunately, it is because of the barrier to entry that is the modeling hobby side. I don't really want to fucking build the models and paint shit. The game looks interesting and fun as fuck. And playing the game with really cool looking models and miniatures also seems fun as fuck. But I don't want to do the work to build it. All right, that's just me. So this is, and like I said, I've said in a couple other previous videos that I'd been, trying my hand at painting the models and getting into the modeling. I don't feel like I'm terrible at it. I guess that's really what it comes down to. At the end of the day, you have to be, it's your models that you're going to be playing with, so you have to be comfortable and happy with the way that they look. You have to enjoy playing with them. And as it turns out, I'm perfectly happy with my skill level. Like, I painted this one, and I was honestly surprised by how it turned out. I thought it was going to turn out much, much shittier than this. Once again, not bragging, not saying this is fantastic, but I 100% thought that it was going to turn out fucking god-awful. And this is actually right here. This is the second one that I've done. I actually went the whole way. The only thing this one's missing to be complete are the transfer decals that go on here on the knee and on the shoulders. But other than that, this guy's done as well. Once again, really happy with how he turned out. I think he turned out better than the first one, which makes sense. I actually went ahead and did the whole like lieutenant stripe here on this one. Actually, he had a little more like detail going on. So yeah, not too shabby. I'm actually kind of happy with how these have turned out. So, but the process was a pain in the ass, and at the end of painting, at the end of the second one, like I said, I still have to do the transfer decals, but at the end of the second one, I was just kind of like, man, like, and if I want to play this game, which I kind of, no, it's not kind of, I do want to get into playing the tabletop game. If I want to play it, I got to do like dozens more of these. Fuck. And it sucks because, like I said earlier, just a little bit ago, I fucking know that the technology is there. I know we're at that point in the year 2023 where the technology is there. It would just require an investment on Games Workshop's part to get into it. I think the best way that they could go about it, well, first of all, before we even talk about how they could go about it, in terms of the investment that they would have to make to kind of, and I'm not saying they should completely abandon making the sprues. Like, for the people who do like to build the models and paint them themselves, by all means keep making that shit for them. But expand, add on to what you have to offer by offering some people who just want to skip that side of the hobby and get into the game, offer them pre-assembled, pre-painted minis. Just fucking do it. And I think the best way to go about this would be 3D printing in this day and age. We already know that Games Workshop has like they retain like staff painters. Like there's got to be a team of people somewhere that do the models for the box art, like and stuff like that. The promotional material and the magazines and the box art. There's people out there that got it. And if they don't, if so, I'm like 99.9% sure that they have like a staff of like just full-time painters. Like that's their job. They work for Games Workshop and they paint the models so that they can be photographed and used for like promotional material and advertising and box art and stuff like that. So you already have those people. And I'm pretty sure, I'm not saying it would be like super cheap, but I'm pretty sure at this point in the game we have 3D printers that could take one of those fully assembled, well-painted models that's been done by a professional painter, scan it, and print not an exact perfect replica, but a good enough replica of that model. And then boom, you have a fully assembled, pretty decently painted, I think it would turn out decent looking model to just sell off to people who just want to buy the shit and get into playing the game. Now, some people are going to ask, would people really buy that? Because it's going to be more expensive. They're gonna up the cost because it's already assembled and painted. And to that I say, yeah. You know why? Because people are already buying really expensive pre-assembled, pre-painted Warhammer 40k figures. The Joy toy line of Warhammer 40,000, the average Marine, like Space Marine, just using them as like a unit here, is about $30 to $40. And then you get into other like specialty characters like the Ragnar Blackmane figure and the Marnius Calgar figure. Those things are in the $60 to $70 range. And people are buying this shit up and they're army building with it. Even though they cannot play a game, if they're willing to spend this much money on this many of these things, and there's not even a game to play with it, don't you think that they would be willing to spend it on these that look decent, but on top of just having a cool collection of them, you can actually play a game with them? Yeah, I think that would. It's just more. It's just you're adding on more value. This. It looks cool, it satisfies that collector itch, and you can make a nice display of it on your shelf. You can't play the game with these. This does everything. This has the capability and the potential to do everything these do, but you can also play the fucking game. So if people are willing to shell out all the money for this shit, why wouldn't they be willing to shell it out for this? So yes, I think people would buy it mainly because they're already buying more expensive similar shit that you cannot even play the game with. And then in terms of McFarlane's toy line, it backs up the point I just made with the Joy toy line, but something else to consider here when we're talking about like how much more expensive would pre-assembled, pre-painted minis be. I don't really know if it would really be all that expensive. Unless Games Workshop is just going to be a bunch of greedy pieces of shit, I don't think it has to be all that expensive. Because if you look at the McFarlane line of Warhammer figures, those things are pre-assembled, those things are pre-painted, and they have multiple moving parts, and they're in like the $25 to $30 range per figure. So if you got to think like if something it's fully assembled, fully painted, multiple moving parts with that much extra plastic, because this is a bigger figure. It's about 7 inches tall, 7 to 8 inches tall. So it's a bigger figure, more plastic, more moving parts, and it's only in the $25 to $30 range. You have to assume that something this size with no moving parts to be sold pre-assembled, pre-painted would be less. You have to, so that only makes logical fucking sense. All right? And like a Space Marine right now in the McFarlane line is anywhere from $20 to $25 retail value. A Sister of Battle is $20 to $25 retail value. Once again, lots of sculpted detail, lots of painted halfway decently. It's not amazing paint, but it would get the job. It's doable, it's serviceable. Multiple moving parts. $20 to $25, $25, $35, $30, somewhere in there. Necron, about $25 retail value. An Ogren is about 30 at retail, is from what the research I was able to do. You can get the Ogren at retail. That big fucker, pre-painted, pre-assembled with moving parts for $30. It's doable. And then the other thing I wanted to bring up was another tabletop game, which is Dungeons and Dragons. I know it's not the same type of game. Bear with me here. I know that Dungeons and Dragons is a imaginative theater of the mind role-playing game, and Warhammer 40,000 is a strategic tabletop war game. I get it, but they both involve the use of little tabletop miniatures. So just bear with me here. Not Games Workshop. I'm sorry, I stand corrected. Wizards of the Coast has a line of pre-assembled, pre-painted Dungeons and Dragons minis that they sell. It's called their Icons of the Realm line. Now, these minifigures, even though they are pre-assembled and pre-painted, they don't look all that great. I think that's more because they don't, like, Wizards of the Coast knows they don't need to, because in the end, it's Dungeons and Dragons is more theater of the mind anyway, and more just like about imagination and storytelling. So they kind of see it as like, people just, when it comes to a Dungeons and Dragons mini, people just want like a little placeholder on the table. They're not really looking to kind of like get as much of a visual representation as they can. It's just like a little placeholder, and it's a little just like little 3D representation of their character. That being said, though, let's talk about the price of these things. You can get them, and I have 3 different sets up here on the screen. You can find these like being sold individual. I actually have several of them here. Like this guy, the camera's not going to do a good job of picking him up. I'd really need to invest in a better camera. But he's painted pretty well, halfway decently. This guy was pre-assembled, pre-painted. He came just like this, and he looks pretty good. He was sold by himself. He was about $14. But you can buy packs that have like 6 to 7 little miniatures in them. And I did the math. I looked up a bunch of these packs and their retail value, and I averaged it by how many miniatures you got in each pack. And it came down to, in these packs like this, one of these D&D minis, costs about $5 to $6. Now, I went ahead and I just doing some basic logic math here, not like I really like crunched some numbers and got some economic information. I am not privy to any of Games Workshop's like money information, and I'm not an economist, I'm not a mathematician. I'm going off of just logic here. So, if the average cost of one of these is about $5 to $6 and they're not painted all that great, well, I went ahead and basically doubled the price on it to be about $10. If we're talking about a 40K mini that is painted decently, I went up to about $10 a model. And that's kind of the figure that I came out with. If Games Workshop was to sell pre-painted, pre-assembled, if they were to sell pre-assembled, pre-painted, decently painted miniatures right out of the box, you take them out of the box, you go, you play the game, they're ready to go. I think they could probably do it for about $10 per model. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you look on Games Workshop right now, a 10 model squad of intercessors costs it's $60, 60. Well, with a $10 per model, but like price tag that I'm talking about here, that 10-man squad of intercessors becomes $100. So it's an extra $40. This is where people go, no one's going to be willing to pay that. No one's going to be willing to pay that. Yes, they will, because you got to keep in mind here what you're getting out of it. What does that extra $40 get you? And what it gets you is it allows you to bypass the extra weeks, maybe even months of time and effort before you can get into the game. That extra $40 is basically like your fast pass to cut the line and get right into playing the fucking game. And I think that would be worth it to a lot of people, because let's just face it, I'm not talking shit here. I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad. I'm not trying to criticize. I'm just saying it the way it is. The hobby of modeling, in and of itself, modeling is a dying hobby. You are not going to find a lot of people 30 years of age or younger that are into modeling. And I don't mean like posing in front of a camera. I mean like this shit, like putting together models and painting them. You're not going to find a lot of people 30 years and younger that are into that. And then I think the number of people who get into it and have that as a hobby is going to be less and less and less as time goes on. It is a dying hobby. It only becomes interesting when there is a game attached to it that you play with the models. So people are coming to this, I think, more for the game than for the modeling. So why not double down on that side of the hobby? I understand Warhammer 40K. There's the modeling side and there's the game side. I really think Games Workshop, even though they've always said that I think they're a modeling company. I think they should, take a really hard look in the mirror and go, should we double down on the game side of this thing? Because yes, you fucking should. There are way more people in the world who would get into Warhammer 40K because of the game than there are because of the modeling. So, and like I said earlier, I'm not saying do away with the modeling. Keep manufacturing the unpainted sprues. The people who like to do it, let them keep doing it. What I'm saying is expand, add pre-assembled, pre-painted, decently painted minis to your catalog. Sell them. Make them and sell them. Why should you do this? Why? I've made an argument that it can be done, and I've made an argument that I think I'm pretty damn sure people will buy it. Well, there's why you should do it right there. People will buy it. Money. Because it lowers the barrier to entry to get into the game, and I think the game is what will attract more people than the modeling hobby side. All right, Games Workshop, you guys make a great first pitch when it comes to advertising for your game, your Warhammer 40,000 game, the hobby itself, the franchise. But in the end, what people find out is that you guys are basically, what you're doing is the equivalent of like if Wizards of the Coast decided to sell Magic, like, hey guys, we have this trading card game called Magic the Gathering. The trading cards, though, they come without any fucking art on them. They're blank. You have to draw your own art on the cards before you can play with them. No one would play Magic. Magic would die. That shit would be gone. And that is basically what you're doing. People want to get into the game. The game seems interesting. Playing the game with cool looking models seems interesting. Building and painting them yourself sounds like a pain in the fucking ass. That's the shit side of this, guys. But like I said, you make a good first impression. All of your promotional material and your box art looks fantastic. Whoever you have painting this stuff for these images does a fantastic job. And when people see this shit, if they have it in them to be into this kind of thing at all, this box art, these advertisement images, it gets them going and it makes them want to be interested. It's when they pick up that box in the hobby store and they turn it over and they see unassembled, unpainted, and then they go, nope, I don't have time for that shit. If I could take these out of the box and get like look at that not the Indomitus box, but the current like starter set. You have like the Command Edition, the Elite Edition. If I could open that Command Edition box and all of those minis in that box were pre-assembled, pre-painted, decently painted with the terrain, with the rule books, that box would be the shit, and it would be flying off the shelves because people would be like, I can just me and a friend can split the cost of this box. I want to play Space Marines, he wants to play Necrons. We can split the cost of this box and we can just dive right in tonight. We don't have to paint or build shit. We can dive right in and start playing tonight. That's what people want, and you're not fucking delivering on that. You're honestly, it's such a tease. Like, you've got these cool images of like these battlefields with these miniatures, and it looks cool and makes people want to get into it. But then they flip the box over and they see the amount of work they're gonna have to fucking do to even play this game, and they just go, God damn it. God fucking damn. And here's the thing. Every single Warhammer 40,000 tabletop player that is really into it and they do paint and build their own minis and models and they have their own armies, if they see this video, they're going to shit all over it. And that's because, and so it's going to seem like everyone's against me, but that's because all of the people who are not into Warhammer 40K, they're not going to watch this video. And the reason they're not going to watch this, like I said, the reason they're not going to watch this video is because they're not into 40K. And one of the main reasons they're not into 40K is because you don't sell pre-assembled, pre-painted, decently painted models. It looks so cool. It really does. I really want to get into this. I really want to play this game. Holy shit. Holy shit, I really want to play this game. I want to do it. So I've gotten 2 done already. Oh shit, I'm dropping it. I've gotten 2 done already. He's all right. I've finished 2 of them already, pretty much. I really want to play this fucking game. I'm seriously considering just saying fuck it. What else can I do? And building an army. But damn, god damn it. It's such a huge amount of time. And that's what deters a lot of. It's not just me, guys. It's not. Ask around. It's not just me. There's so many people that have like taken a look at a Warhammer 40K box set and then put it back down once they saw that it comes unassembled and unpainted. It's the way it is. It's the way it is. It's not 1980 butt fuck 2. All right, it's 2023. We have advanced technology. 3D print some shit. We want quick, easy access to shit. There's a reason streaming services have replaced fucking cable network television. It's because easy, quick, fast access. That's what people want. And you're not fucking delivering on it right now, GW. You're still with this old-timey, slow shit. God damn it, I really want to play this game. There's so... I think... And I can't be alone. I just can't be alone. I think there's probably people all over the world who have thought, man, that would be really cool. I'd like to play that, but I cannot bring myself to devote that amount of time to the modeling side of it. So here's my last little bit of information for all the people watching this video, and like on the 1 in 10 billion chance that someone from Games Workshop actually sees this fucking video. I know it's slim, but this is more directed towards that kind of idea anyway. You guys have a massive opportunity coming up. Massive opportunity. In about 4 to 5 years, let's see, it's 2023 now. He announced it. Henry Cavill announced his live action project with Amazon for Warhammer 40K. He announced it in the end of 2022. So 23, 24, 25, 26. I'm going to say probably like late 2025, early 2026 is when we could possibly see it come out. So Games Workshop, you guys, like, you have an opportunity. If you can make it happen, if you can make the investment and you can get the technology and you can get the shit you need and you can get it together and start offering the world pre-assembled, pre-painted, decently painted Warhammer 40K models to play the game with by the time this shit comes out, that's like getting in on Facebook before knowing that Facebook was going to be as big of a thing as it was. Like, this is Games Workshop. This is your chance to do what Marvel was not aware they should have done, and what DC Comics has refused to do. Like, look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe and think about like the popularity of that film franchise. How many people are now into comics, into Marvel Comics, that were not into Marvel Comics before those movies? That's what you have going on here. If this shit comes out and it is super successful and it becomes mainstream and popular, you are going to have a absolute motherfuck ton of people looking at this tabletop game, wanting to play it, thinking about getting into it. And if you have not, by that point in time, if you have not made the adjustments necessary, if you have not started selling pre-assembled, pre-painted, decently painted models for the game, you are going to lose out on every single potential new customer that show is going to bring in. And there's probably some people out there who doubt whether or not this is going to be good. Here's all I have to say about that. This dude is an executive producer of it, which means he's at the helm. He has creative control. He can tell people, yeah, your idea is awesome, let's do it. And he can also tell people, you're out of your fucking mind, your idea is shit, get the fuck out, there's the door. He has that kind of control and power. On top of that, he is a diehard fan of this stuff. And he is loyal to it. So he will use that power that he has responsibly. And then on top of that, Amazon has all the fucking money under God. So it's going to have a big enough budget, and you've got a fan at the helm controlling it. Do you really think it's going to be bad? Do you really? Do you really think it's not going to work out? No, it's going to work out. It's more than likely going to be extremely successful. It's more than likely going to become extremely popular. And a lot of new fans and new people are going to be looking at this shit. Like, hey, maybe I should get into Warhammer 40k. And if you have not started selling pre-assembled, pre-painted models, by the time it comes out, you will miss out on every single bit of potential income and profit that all of those new fans could bring you. I'm not saying you're at risk of losing out, like you're at risk of taking a loss. I'm just saying you are at risk of missing out on an opportunity to make a lot of profit. So I'll just leave you with that right there. So that's my take on that. I've covered it all. Why Games Workshop should be selling pre-assembled, pre-painted, decently painted Warhammer 40,000 models. It's because it is doable. The technology's there. People will buy it. It makes it easier and quicker to get into the game. The game is where it's at. More people, the game is more interesting than the modeling side of the hobby. The game is what it's all about. The game is where it's at. And there's a huge opportunity here to make a lot of money because a lot of new fans are going to be coming into this shit with this show. So that's my take on that. Let me know what you guys think. Leave some comments down below. Get the discussion started. If you like this video, please hit that like button. It really helps out the channel. If you want to help out the channel even more, check out some of my other videos and maybe subscribe. Other than that, I will talk to you guys later.